This video is for you who is conflicted. By conflicted, I mean you're going through some hostilities, some disputes, and you lack peace. Today I want us to turn to God's word and glean some wisdom, some counsel for those who are conflicted. And in the Bible, we have various books that are called the wisdom books. And in the Old Testament, that would be Proverbs, that would be Ecclesiastes. In the New Testament, the equivalent of those would be the book of James. It is New Testament Proverbs. And James writes like a sage. And one of the things he talks about is conflict. He talks about conflicts and disputes, hostilities, things that are part and parcel of our lives. They have featured in our headlines over this past recent while. And given that we live in a fallen world, these are realities that we contend with. You know, when we look at the global scene, we talk about conflicts between Ukraine and Russia. When we come right here, we talk about the contestations around the electoral process. And those are things that we can talk about at length. But today, I want us to hear what James the sage is saying about conflicts. He's saying most times we would externalize, but we need to turn the spotlight inward and find out what's going on inside, because conflicted people will end up bringing conflicts to others. James chapter 4 verse 1 tells us, those conflicts and disputes among you, where do they come from? So he, sets up that question. What's the source? What's the genesis of conflicts? And because we live in a fallen world, a broken world, most times when we talk about conflict, we'll externalize, we'll turn away. When we have issues in relationships or with friends, most times we will point the finger, the accusatory finger, to the other person, and we'll point and say, the conflicts, the cause of the conflict is so and so. We're conflicted because you did this or the other. And I don't know if you've used that line before. I know I've used it a number of times. I know that I've been on this side pointing the accusatory finger. And I forget at that moment in time that there are three fingers pointing back at me and saying, take a closer look at what's going on inside. And so what I'm hearing James asking in this question is he's saying, let's examine this thing called conflict. You who is conflicted, where is it coming from? And he goes on to provide the answer. He says, do they not come from your cravings that are at war within you? He says, this is an inside job, that conflicts are an inside job, that disputes, that hostilities, that these things that we contend with, they are coming from the inside. In a previous video, I was talking about being triggered. That when you and I get triggered, that thing triggered is saying that there's ammunition down deep. There's something explosive within. And whatever it is that has triggered it has only brought to the surface what's been going on inside. So I want to ask you if you are conflicted and if you know your part to play in the conflict. It might be in a family scene, it might be in a friendship, it might be in an office scenario, it might be right there in campus where you're just realizing that you're clashing left, right, and center. You're falling into all manner of disputes and hostilities, and basically your relationships are not at optimum. You wouldn't say that you have flourishing relationships, be it in the family space or with your friends and so forth. I said that this video is for you because I hear Sage James saying, turn the spotlight away from the other party, turn it inward, and get to know what's going on inside. And in our next video, we'll see some of these sources of conflict. That if we deal with these things, we'll find that we are more at peace, we're more calm. But if we don't deal with those things, we'll find that they'll take root in us and we'll become all the more conflicted. So today, I pray that God would give you peace, God would give you a sense of clarity so that you'd know, instead of figuring out, trying to turn the spotlight the other way, let me turn it here. and let me figure out what's going on inside. And that way, you'll be on the pathway to peace. Thanks for watching CITAM, Church Online, and pass this on to someone who you know is conflicted and let them receive counsel for the conflicted. God bless you.